What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin did see a breakout recently. We're going to be going over that. We're going to be going over why Bitcoin is currently seeing a little bit of resistance at these current price levels. Let's just hop into the CryptoWatch homepage here. We're going to be looking at the asset card list, and we can see that most cryptos are trending to the upside right now. Most of the top coins are moving to the upside with Bitcoin. On this channel, we will be keeping track of two different things recently. Of course, the downward sloping price channel that you can see on the chart right now, and also, of course, the falling wedge pattern. In the last couple of videos, one thing that we discussed is that if, to get bullish confirmation in the short term, we were going to have to break above the downward sloping resistance, which we did, and then build support along that level, which we did. So we got those two confirmations, and after those two confirmations, we did see some nice bullish moves to the upside, and we saw a continuation of this break out of this falling wedge pattern. Now, the question is, how much further can the price really go after this breakout here? If we just take a look at the price channel that we've been trading in, we broke above the falling wedge. We also broke above the heart line of the price channel, and this overall is pretty good for the bulls. I mean, this put in some, some short-term bullish momentum. Although we did get some rejection right along that resistance box that I have mapped out here. As we've been creating this price channel, previous support has been becoming resistance on the way down. Same with this area right here. Previous support has become resistance here in this area right now. And also, it just was resistance once again. Overall, based on the previous high here, I mean, we got rejected at about 7,800, and Bitcoin just saw rejection at about 7,700 roughly. So we are still seeing lower highs here. And if we're just looking at the chart, we also saw a lower low here, just barely. We saw a lower low. Right now, what the bulls need to achieve is breaking above previous resistance. Instead of just using previous support as resistance here, what needs to happen in order to get an actual change in this market is for Bitcoin to break above this previous resistance here. If Bitcoin can break above 7,800, 8,000, then of course we could see a breakout of the downward sloping price channel. And this could mean that Bitcoin is looking for, a healthy halving period. Although right now, as long as Bitcoin is creating lower lows and lower highs, I have to remain a little bit more bearish on the Bitcoin price. I'm going to have a slight bearish bias overall. As long as we're trading within this downward sloping price channel. In the short term, Bitcoin needs to break above 7,800 or 8,000 in order to get a real bullish, break out of this price channel. Right now, that doesn't seem likely. Right now, we're seeing more rejection, and as of right now, it doesn't seem likely. It would become more likely if we pull back to the heart line and we use this as support. If we can create a higher low here along this heart line of the price channel, then at that point, I would say it becomes a little bit more likely that Bitcoin could be at least looking to test 8,000 and, potentially looking for a break out of this price channel. But if Bitcoin does use that heart line as support, I would become a little bit more bullish on Bitcoin at that point, as we would be creating some higher lows in the market. What I find interesting is if we just go to the weekly chart and we pull up our 21-week EMA, Bitcoin currently is trending below the 21-week EMA. Now, if we just take a look at Bitcoin in the past, we've always held above the 21-week EMA during bull markets. And once we start to trend below the 21-week EMA, that's when we enter our bear markets. Once we flip above the 21-week EMA, we remain above it the entire bull market. And once we break below it once, that's when we see a bear market. And right now, Bitcoin is actually breaking below that 21-week EMA. Overall, this is a bearish sign until we can break back above it and hold above it, right? In the past bear market in 2018, Bitcoin was continuously testing below it, testing above it, testing below it, testing above it, until, of course, we just saw a breakdown in the market. And right now, Bitcoin is testing below it, testing above it, testing below it. And if the bulls do manage to push the price of Bitcoin, if we do get this bullish break out of this falling wedge pattern and we do manage to break above the 21-week EMA here in the more short term, the bulls are going to want to hold above it. If we start testing above it and testing below it again, that's going to be a clear indication that Bitcoin is recreating a more bearish market structure, where we see, where we test above the 21-week, you may test below it until we eventually have a breakdown again, right? So just keep this in mind, guys. If the bulls can manage to get a continuation out of this falling wedge pattern, we're going to want to break above the 21-week EMA and hold above that level. If we can't hold above that level, if we can't actually use it as support, we're gonna end up recreating this environment again, and just having a second market cycle bubble here, where we end up trading to lower prices, and enter a period of long-term stability for Bitcoin, right, where Bitcoin enters a much more stable period. If we can't hold above 6,400, guys, as most traders in this market right now know, as a lot of investors already know, the $6,500 level is the area where most of the volume is sitting on the chart right now. This was a major area of market structure during 2018, and if we can't hold this level as support, if we break below this level, 6,500, I guess really psychologically that 6,000 level, if we break below that level, we're going to be entering a long-term period of stability for Bitcoin, in my opinion. For now, though, as long as Bitcoin continues this bullish break out of this falling wedge pattern and is able to actually hold above the 21-week EMA and use it as a new area of support, at that point, then Bitcoin could be seeing, a healthy halving period, and we could be looking more bullish going into the halving here if we see some higher low structure. If we don't see that, if we just test above the 21-week EMA and test below it again, this is going to be very bearish for Bitcoin. And of course, the halving is not going to be all too bullish. A lot of my viewers here also watch the Ivan on Tech channel. And Ivan on Tech is one of the top crypto channels and is one of the most informative channels in the crypto space. And one thing he said recently that I really do agree with is that if everybody in the crypto market is relying on the next halving for bullish price action, right? A lot of people think that once the halving comes around, Bitcoin is going to see bullish price action almost immediately. And if we don't get that immediate bullish price action, a lot of the people in this market are going to be very disappointed, and that's going to create a lot of bearish sentiment. And after the next halving takes place, there's not all too many big events taking place for Bitcoin. There's not all too much to look forward to for Bitcoin after the halving, right? Unless we see some more development. This is something that Ivan on Tech has been talking about, and I really do agree with that. There's not all too much to look forward to after the halving other than, more bullish price action. So if the halving event is a disappointment, this could bring a lot of disappointment and negative sentiment to the crypto market. So it's almost dangerous for people to be relying on the halving period as their next, the next thing to look forward to, because if we don't get that major, breakout, in May here during the next halving, if we don't get that major push to the upside after the halving, and let's say Bitcoin is looking more stable during that period, this is going to be a huge deal breaker for a lot of market participants, and a lot of people are going to end up giving up on Bitcoin if the halving is not bullish. So I thought that was an interesting point I would bring to you guys, that just relying on the halving alone, that being the biggest hope for the crypto market right now, is actually a little bit dangerous, right? But I just thought that was an interesting point that Ivan brought up. But either way, guys, currently we are still seeing previous support become resistance, and we are still getting rejected off of our resistance point right here. Right now, the bulls do need to use this heart line as support and then range back up to break 7,800, 8,000. If we can get above this resistance here, then Bitcoin could be looking for, to be very bullish here going into 2020. If we just continue to see lower highs, right, and lower lows, then of course Bitcoin is going to be continuing this downtrend. One major thing to look out for right now is the parabolic stop and reverse indicator and the 21-week EMA. If we just continuously see rejection along the 21-week EMA, then I would say Bitcoin is looking for a major breakdown. If we can get the parabolic stop and reverse indicator to flip here on the weekly and start to trend up, then Bitcoin could be looking for at least some sideways action before the next halving period. So these are some of the things I'm looking out for right now. And again, guys, overall, as long as we remain within the downward sloping price channel, then I have to remain bearish on Bitcoin. But that's just how I'm seeing the charts right now, guys. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to click that link below and sign up with the CryptoWatch platform, which is the platform I use in all of my videos. And I will see you all in the next video.